Tubi is a newbie. The little streaming app that almost no one knew just a year ago is now beating handily the Walt Disney Company with their Disney Plus flagship app. And not only that, folks, we've got a big story about Hulu and what's happening there. So look out, Bob Iger. Rupert Murdoch is bringing it to you with a streaming app that feels all brand new. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Pro Channel. Oh my, what a joy it is to share time with you. And we, of course, are here dragging Hollyweird back to the middle, back to the sensible center where money can be made. They don't like it, they hate it, but by golly, ideology is not accepted here as an excuse for failure. Folks, today we're talking about Tubi. And 6 months ago, 8 months ago, many of you out there had never even heard of Tubi. And yet now it is ahead of Disney Plus. And not only that, but Disney Plus seems to be shedding viewership out of Hulu as it cannibalizes that platform, costing Disney billions and billions. And oh, by the way, we said that would happen. Not because we're prescient in ways that only a prognosticator could ever know. We are not Nostradamus. Nay, we just have logic on our side. It's obvious to anybody who pays close attention. And that's our job to do so and then give you what we know because of it. Let's dive in with the panel right now. Disney cannot be happier that The Acolyte is ending. And so all of the defenders out there, all of the Paul Tassies, the Scott Mendelsons, they're just carrying the water for a dead horse. You can lead a dead horse to water, but he ain't going to drink. And that's where we are. You can pour it up his nostrils, won't matter one bit. Take a look at this. This is out of Now It's Known. Mac is the guy, and what a great resource. At Now It's Known, folks. Everybody should be following at Now It's Known over on X. And I believe this is brought to us via Nielsen. It is. Okay, I was making sure we didn't have a variety somewhere below it. But Nielsen. And here's the big news. So over the last, 3 or 4 or 5 months, we've been predicting that Tubi would overtake Disney Plus. And last month it did. And this month it happened again. Now, the fascinating thing about this is that Tubi only comes below Disney Plus in the list here because they use the alphabetical ordering when the exact same percentages are reached. But if we were to go past the first decimal point, Tubi has beaten Disney Plus 2 months in a row. Now, why is that big news? Well, first of all, because this is from June. And what was going on during June? Well, The Acolyte. The Acolyte was going on during June. A Star Wars live-action series was going on during June. It was supposed to be lifting Disney Plus up. Instead, Tubi is beating it. We'll talk about Tubi in just a second, but I also want to say this about the Disney Plus situation. I beat my
Tubi all the time.
Easy, Tubi master. The other thing, folks, take a look at Hulu. We have been watching Hulu drop precipitously in this percentage of how much they share in total TV viewing time.
And I was going to, that's what I wanted to bring up in this Tubi story.
Tell me about it, Paul.
Well, the fact that Hulu had its head screwed on absolutely perfectly when it was launched. It knew what it was. For years. It knew what it was. It was the absolute correct, not antidote, but answer to Netflix. I was really quite amazed when all these, initially it was an NBC project, and Fox came in on it, and it was the place where the TV station could, dump their reruns with a few extra little, bits and pieces, and people loved it. It was exactly the right thing. And then, it's actually prior to Disney getting hold of it, though I don't know whether they had any influence on it, but they just kind of like screwed up the formula.
Totally.
And now Tubi has, is going to be overtaking Hulu.
Yeah.
And Disney is going, like, now that Hulu and Disney Plus is merging, it's going to be the worst of both worlds.
It's just basically Disney Plus 2.0. Right.
Yeah.
And you said exactly what I've been saying before, is like Hulu kind of replaced the digital recorder, right?
Yeah. It was just a brilliant, popular, inexpensive, perfect opposite to what Netflix was.
It had 90% of the shows the day after they were on TV.
Yep.
And that way you didn't have to worry about missing anything.
Yep.
If I can point this out, Hulu did start, and you're totally right, Tom, by the way. Hulu did start as a free with ads streamer. And then when they added in Hulu Plus, and they spelled out the plus because that's how old school this is. They weren't. That was before adding in the.
We were the first ones with a plus.
That was when you could get more of the shows that were dropping the next day. I think Hulu might have actually been to blame for the 2008 writer's strike in some way, because there were people like BJ Novak, for instance, that would be on the picket lines talking about how nobody was watching The Office on broadcast. Whenever anyone told him out in Hollywood that they were watching The Office, they were saying that they were watching it on digital. And obviously Netflix did have The Office at some point, but for a good deal of this, Hulu, obviously with Comcast and NBC together, they were putting their shows on this streaming service. It was a great response to Netflix, because Netflix was a repository for anything that was just kind of sitting there, and Hulu was for active shows that were currently airing. Netflix did a little bit of current television where they would put the show on the next day, but they've never had a good interface for current television. Hulu has always been about what's on right now. And they also, of course, were one of the few that if you paid for the ad-free model, you were actually giving them less money than you were if you were just doing the slight payment plus ads one. They made more money off of the ads. So this was a fully functioning business model. And of this entire list, Netflix obviously works now. Prime Video, there's an asterisk on that because it's obviously attached to Prime. Hulu is the only one on this list before you get to Tubi, where I see a complete business model here that they can probably have some pride in. They were also the first to, not the first to go to follow Netflix. Sorry, let me restate this. They were not the first to go for those big $100 million prestige shows. Netflix was the one to do that. They were also the first one to just kind of get away from that and say, we're not going to be dropping $100 million on another season of a brand new show like Future Man, for instance. They got away from that before anybody else because they had to have people responsible for it. Hulu, I did my whole master's, like the last half of that was studying Hulu and Fox and Disney. And I have a special affinity for this one because they knew what they were doing. Kevin Mayer, who I think should be the CEO of the Walt Disney Company right now, if Bob Iger was not everything we know him to be right now, he was the one in charge of Hulu after Jason Kilar, who later went to Warner Brothers and created and killed Max at the same time. Kevin Mayer was the guy behind Hulu's success. And of this entire list right here, I have the most confidence that Hulu has the better business model here. I don't know. Well, other than YouTube. They've killed it.
They've killed it, and Disney is just going to kill it further.
Because they don't know what they're doing. Now they're saying Bear is we did a video on That Park Place about this. The Bear was an FX show and was successful. And because Disney wanted to be the top of the streaming originals chart, they said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to take this show that everyone's talking about. They even talked about it on the earnings call. They know that this is one of their most popular, one of their most critically acclaimed shows. And they said, you know what? We're going to say this is a Hulu show now. And also we're going to dump the entire season on the platform at once. Obviously, so that they could get the numbers up there, so they could say that they had the #1 show in streaming originals for 1 week.
Where does Stars fit in? Because they did Murders in the Building, and they do a bunch of other good shows too. And that's all available on Disney.
Well, there's two services. Stars with a Z is the Lionsgate streaming service, or I say former Lionsgate streaming service that made a deal with Disney. I think probably as part of the Stars channels. And then there's Star Plus, which is Hulu outside of America. And here's the funny thing is Hulu outside of America, Disney did not want to pay all of their business partners for content on Hulu outside of the United States. They wanted all of this dedicated to that. So Star Plus is Hulu outside of the United States. So in the United States, Hulu makes more money than Disney Plus, double what Disney Plus makes in the United States. And outside of the United States, Disney and essentially Hulu content, because it's Star Plus, are combined together and they make with twice the content, more than twice the content. They make just as much as
segue, Jonas?
Disney in the United States.
How's this for a segue? Let's just insert this, and then we'll continue the conversation. This came out 9 hours ago. Stephen Foster, the author here over on moreaboutadvertising.com, U.S. hotshot Mischief launches free streamer Tubi in the United Kingdom. And this is the paragraph that we need to see, folks. Rupert Murdoch's Fox Corporation, yes, that Rupert Murdoch, the guy over Fox News, isn't afraid of taking a punt, and free streamer Tubi is launching in the United Kingdom. And in the agency chair is in the U.S.'s hottest newcomer, former BBDO exec Greg Hahn's creation, a deal with Canada's no fixed address, has rapidly won an enviable list of clients, including some traditional biggies like Kraft. So, Tubi now going international beyond what it might have already been, and that has to give Disney some real pause because it's not just in North America. Yes, North America is Disney's most profitable in terms of a profit margin per consumer market, but if Tubi is going to go after them globally, that's a real problem for Disney, especially given that they don't have the same setup they have in North America with Disney Plus and Hulu.
The other thing that's interesting about Tubi is that it has a very good dedicated independent film component in that if you know what you're doing and you can't do it on your own, you have to have an aggregator represent you to get your film on Tubi. But if you can make a film at a reasonable level and have an aggregator that is connected to Tubi, you can actually make a profit on your independent movies by showing them on Tubi.
Yeah. There's also a lot of wrestling on Tubi, like a lot of old school stuff like Memphis and like stuff you can't find on Peacock with the WWE Network and whatnot. So wrestling fans love Tubi. So I hear about it all the time.
Jonas, walk us through go ahead, Tom. And then after that, Jonas, I want you to chime in on the cost differentials here. So how much have they spent on Disney Plus and Hulu versus how much is Tubi, which is beating them now? How much did Tubi cost? Go ahead, Tom.
Well, no, I was just going to say, I mean, Andre made the best observation about all these streaming services about a year or two ago.
Yes.
Basically, when he said that Hollywood should have treated them like the new version of home video. And Netflix and Hulu were basically the baseline for that. And, you know, prestige television, and they're starting to learn a little bit. I know I've had the same conversation with Paul, Script Doctor, and others. They were never going to be able to sustain what they were doing on 10, 15, 20 bucks per subscription per person per household. It just never was going to be that good. And I pointed that out early on when Max and Disney Plus and all them dropped, because I said, you're ostensibly having an entire family pay the cost of what would it cost to buy a Blu-ray or a DVD, sometimes less, for one of these streaming services for an entire catalog of stuff. Of course, you're going to lose money at the end of the day and you're not going to make anything. They're going to have to add ads back into the mix because that's what made Hulu profitable at the beginning of this. And, you know, they've gotten smart and they're starting to move all these shows, these prestige shows, back to HBO, back to ABC, back to CBS, back to all these places. Like we've said in the start, This is what it should have been. And Hulu and Netflix and Disney Plus and Max should be the end of the line. That should be 6-7 months really after something's released. Tom.
Yeah. Okay. So a good example here is, of course, that Harry Potter is now going to be an HBO show as opposed to a Max show, because I think they've realized now that you cannot just use. Yeah, you can't just make this into a blank check for whatever you want to put on your streaming service and hope that you get to Netflix numbers. I think they've all been disabused of that now. So you get all of these streamers except for Disney, who will say, you know what we're going to do? We're going to put this on our premium channels on cable. Well, the thing that I'm seeing here is Disney does not have a premium channel that they can put Disney content on. They can't put the Mandalorian on FX. Well, I think they maybe have done a little bit of Star Wars.
That's the problem. Is that they've ostensibly replaced the Disney Channel and home video with Disney Plus instead of just being the Disney Channel 2.0 is what Disney Plus should have been. All the content they used to Disney,
because they even say on their financial statements, they max out Disney Channel as a 14 and under channel, and they don't have a premium Disney channel there, because that has become the land of like Hannah Montana. I know that's obviously a dated reference, but I defy anyone in this audience to tell me what is the current show on Disney Channel right now, because
I'm pretty sure they stopped adding new content. Disney has been actively destroying its premium cable channels for the last year because they were so all in on Disney Plus. Everything just had to go to Disney Plus. So they're at the point of no return. They've passed the windmill on those.
And I'll tell you this too. So I don't normally watch Disney Channel, and I won't be watching Disney Channel, but it came on during my stay at the Walt Disney World Resorts. Listen, Disney Channel is awful. I mean, it is just awful. The quality is terrible. There's some stupid animated CGI thing that looks like it came out of the reboot era about zombies animated high school thing. It's just awful. Anyway, Paul.
What I was going to say is that you could see at the beginning when Netflix first came on board the dollars in the eyes of the studios and networks, in the sense that, you know, to a large degree, they had to work their ass off to manage even the advertising. Even though the advertising model was lucrative, it required hit shows. It required tending the garden. And initially, you can envision a bunch of executives going, oh my God, if we can get $15 per person and we've got 1 million subscribers, well, I mean, I don't know what the math is, but now you're talking about a recurring revenue model that the networks and studios have never had, like a guaranteed amount of cash every month. That was the brass ring. That's what gave them Woodies. What they didn't realize after they published all the available content that they had in their libraries, or what they chose to add, they went, oh crap, we now have to keep making new stuff to keep the existing people on our system. Oh, okay, I didn't really anticipate that. Oh, that's really hard. Oh, so that was the, my son and I talk about it all the time. People don't factor in the maintenance of the shit they buy. They go, okay, I got this great car. I got 7 years worth of financing. This is going to be fantastic, notwithstanding the massive depreciation. No one should finance a car for 7 years.
Nor the oil, nor the tires, nor the brakes.
You're out of your frickin' mind if you finance your car longer than 4 years.
You mean those things don't work like stocks?
No, they don't. Man. Your car does not appreciate.
Here's the thing.
So the point is, they've maxed themselves out, and then we need oil. Oh, we need new tires. Oh, things go wrong with the car. And they have no money for maintenance. And that's what this whole streaming thing is. They bought the car. They go, whoa, look at this. This is fantastic. Oh, we got to add new product to it. Okay.
Right. I can't afford ramen, but look at my car.
Yeah.
And folks, it is done yet again. We are sorry, so sorrowful to say goodbye, but we'll be by again real soon, 3 times daily right here on the Pro Channel. Plus, our partner programs out there, At That Park Place, At That Pod Place, At That Game Place. Do you see a pattern? All of our sister channels are producing great, magnificent content, and we would love for you to be subscribed over there if you would be so kind and generous with your time. We promise we'll make it worth your time. All right, folks, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.